Book Dragons. I'm here for day 15 of BookMas. Oh, my battery's gonna die, so I don't know how long this video is gonna go until my battery dies. But I am here to sort of assess the series and the series progress that I made in 2023. I am not fully done with my spreadsheet, but being inspired by like everyone on BookTube, I started to make my own. I only got up to 2023. And I'm gonna do like my full series stats, but these are the series that like I either finished or I'm most interested in completing as of this moment when I kind of went through all the books that I read. At this moment, I have read 201 books. It's probably gonna get higher just because I read a lot, especially when I'm off and I am about to go on Christmas break. So I do have a spreadsheet. So at this moment, all the series that I am currently reading that I am in the middle of is 40 series. Now there are some of these that I'm like caught up on currently, so I would say about like, you know, like maybe like 6 to 7 series I'm totally up to date on. I would have to get you like a full data, but that's going to be in my other video. But there are some series that like I don't know if we're getting more books. Like I'm not really sure, so I don't know if my spreadsheet is accurate. But like I know like Sisters of Salt and Sorrow, that series is gonna get their book in 2025. So like, you know, the Agathas, I don't know if that's getting another book. You know, there's a couple of these that I'm not totally sure if I have read it, like the Rachel Kroll series. A couple of them don't have like a future book, so like Swordcatcher I think does. Legends and Lattes, I don't know if that series is done. So yeah, there are a couple that I'm just not sure, but I'm in the middle of 40 series that I still want to actively complete. And then finished series, so just looking at what I finished in the year of 2023, I have finished like 19 series, which is actually not that bad. Now this is a combination of companion series and full series, so I'm just gonna kind of go over them and would I recommend the whole series or just a certain book. American Royals by Catherine McGee, I really did enjoy. I liked it. I gave all the books between 4 and 5 stars. I know that some people weren't the biggest fan of it because the tropes really switched from book one to book 2. Like the tropes switched dramatically, but I still really enjoyed it. I think my favorite book was probably Rivals. I thought that was like very interesting and left on like a killer cliffhanger that you had to read. So I would definitely read American Royals. It gave me like Gossip Girl, you know, real royal vibes, and I really liked it. And I was able to read 2 books this year, which is pretty good. The Hathaway series, I read pretty much the whole series except for book 1. I like this series. I like the later books a little bit more. If I remember, I will attach a photo here or at some point in this video. But I read Seduce Me at Sunrise, Tempt Me at Twilight, Love in the Afternoon, and Married by Morning. I think I liked Love in the Afternoon the most because it had animals in it, which was super fun. So I will attach a photo of book 1 in the series. I would recommend it. I don't think it gave me Bridgerton vibes, which is what I was hoping for. So keep that in mind. But I did like it. It had some questionable, not like word choice in it throughout the whole series, but I did like it. So yes. So that is the second series that I finished. The third series I finished was the Tattered and Torn series by Catherine Cowles. I read every book this year. I think, yeah, I read every book this year. And I really enjoyed them. If I had to pick a favorite, I would probably say Shattered Sea and Fractured Sky and Hidden Waters. This is basically follows the main character. Well, first book follows the main character, her father kidnapped a girl, and then the other books in the series follow this family. So it's like all different tropes, but there is a cult at the heart of this. A little bit more of like a lighthearted cult, I would say. It's not as like deadly serious, but there are some romantic suspense moments that kind of fuel the series. And I really liked Shattered Sea, which had great disability rep, and also Fractured Sky. Fractured Sky had a really, really fun found family element that I also really enjoyed. I have read another series by Catherine Cowles, and I'm in the middle of another one. So she's definitely one of my new favorite, like, romantic suspense authors. And here is a photo of my favorite book. And I would definitely recommend it, especially the audiobooks. The fourth series I finished was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and this series I think went down for me in enjoyment. I didn't love book 3 as much as I think everyone else did. I think there was a sharp twist in the story, and I sometimes struggle with unlikable characters, and as the story went on, I think our main character Pippa got a little bit more unlikable, and her choices didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But overall, I think I liked book 1 and book 2 a lot more than book 3. I haven't gone back and I haven't read the prequel novella, but I was able to read As Good as Dead, and then I gave it to my student Lucas, who also really, really liked the series, and he had similar thoughts to me. But if I had to pick a favorite of this series, I would probably say the second book in the series. But here is a photo in case you don't know what it is, and I would recommend it. I just think the last book in the series didn't end as strong as I was hoping. Now I'm not sure if this series is completely done, but I also finished Seekers of the Wild Realm by Alexandra Ott. I read Legends of the Realm. This is a quick middle grade series that had some Fable Haven vibes, and I liked it. I don't think it was my favorite. It was a fun read. Happy that I finished it, but I don't know if she's gonna write anything else, but this series was fun. It was a quick read. It didn't make that much of a pressure on me, but if you have someone that's kind of trying to increase their reading or increasing their page length, I would recommend this one. And here's a picture of the book that I finished, and I probably liked book 1 a little bit more than book 2, so I would recommend Seekers of the Wild Realm over Legends of the Realm, but they were solid reads, just not like new favorites. I also wrapped up the Percy Jackson series. I was rereading this with Prophecy Radio, and I read The Last Olympian, and I really, really enjoyed it. Definitely a solid series. Probably one of my favorite middle grade series that I read when I was younger. Like, younger to me is like high school, early college. That still stands up. So, yeah, I really liked it. I'm so happy about the TV show as well, and that is where we are with that. If I had to pick a favorite book, I would probably say the last book. And I also really, really like Titan's Curse, but I read Last Olympian in 2023, and here's a photo. The next series that I finished was Fifth Avenue Rebels by Joanna Shupe, and I read every book in this series except for the first book, which I heard isn't the best. I do have an audiobook of it, so I may pick it up one day. But I really liked all of them for different reasons. This is definitely a historical romance series that really did work for me. Other than the Mine Till Midnight series or the Hathaway series, it didn't really. This had a lot of fun dynamic. It had found family. It had very, very strong women. If I had to pick a favorite, I would probably say The Lady Gets Lucky or The Bride Goes Rogue. Those were super fun and just a quick listen. But I read all 3. If I had to pick a favorite, I would definitely say Bride Goes Rogue. It was really, really fun. And I would definitely recommend this series if you're looking for kind of one that deals with like harder issues to chat about. I would definitely recommend it. And here's a photo of my favorite book. So read The Part of Your World duology by Abby Jimenez, and I loved Part of Your World. I've never read like an age gap romance before, especially when the woman was younger and the guy was younger. It gave me small town vibes, like so much small town vibes, and I loved it. Definitely my favorite, and I really just like the characters. It was a really, really quick, fun read. and a little bit steamy, which is nice. So if I had a big favorite, I would probably say Part of Your World, even though I really did like Yours Truly as well. But I'll show you a picture of my favorite. The book series that I'm going to talk about is the Tokyo Ever After series. Sorry, my voice is horrible. By Amiko Jean. And I like this series. I think book 1 was my favorite. I don't think book 2 was as strong. I read book 2 this year. It was okay. It just didn't make that much of an impression. I don't really think you needed book 2. I think book 1 was a solid enough standalone that you didn't really need to book 2. But I did read Tokyo Dreaming and I liked it. I think I gave it 3 stars, but definitely was not a favorite for me, a new favorite for me. But here's a photo in case you were wondering what it looked like. I only give it 3 stars, but I do recommend book 1 and not really need to continue on to book 2. The series that I finished was I don't know if it's done, but I read both. The second book is Witchlings by Claribel Ortega. I did not love this book as much as I loved book 1. I liked it. It had like kind of like, you know, like a competition element, but I missed the other characters. I was stuck in one character's point of view through this whole book, and I just didn't feel that connected to her. So like, I wish we had seen or been in the other characters' heads a little bit more, to be very, very honest. But that's okay. I liked it. I don't know if I'm gonna read more books in this series because book 1 did not impress. Book 2 did not impress me that much. But I do want to read more by this author because I love book 1. Book 2 just didn't have the magic. But this is the book that I read, and I only gave it 3 stars. I also finished the Bladesmith duology by Trisha Levisero. I like this book. I gave both either 4 or 5 stars. I really did like Master of Iron. I like the romance in this. It was a fun read. It dealt with anxiety and depression rep, which I hadn't really read a lot of, but I just like Trisha Levisero's writing style quite a bit, and I like these characters. There was a very strong like sister dynamic in the story that just made me happy, so I would recommend this duology. I read Master of Iron and I gave it 5 stars. Here's a photo. I sometimes struggle with duologies. That's what this video is teaching me, because I also read These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan, and I did not have the best of luck with these twisted bods, even though I really did like These Hollow Vows. So I struggled a little bit with these twisted bonds. It only got 3 stars. Not sure I would recommend the second book, but again, I did like the first book, and that is just a sequence we are seeing, but I only gave it 3 stars, but here's the photo. I don't know if you got that, my mom was calling me. But I did wind up finishing The Van Beekers of 144th Street, and this is a 7-book series, and definitely my favorite middle grade contemporary series I've ever read. And I read The Van Beekers Happily Ever After, or I think it's called Ever After. I'll attach a photo of the book, and oh my god, this book was like gut-wrenching. It was really, really, I mean, it was gut-wrenching in some ways, but also like very uplifting in other ways. But it basically follows this family of like 6 kids set in New York City, and it was just a fun, heartwarming read. It's very, very rare that you read a series that has the family really, really intact with no major issues, and I fell in love with this family. So I gave book 5 5 stars. I think I gave every book in this series 5 stars. If you're looking for a fun place to start, I recommend you check out the first book because it's set around Christmas time and around like New Year's Eve, so it's great to read, and it's a really, really quick read. Oh my god, my dog likes, can you stop with my hat? Hi. I know. I understand. She's upset because I have a ball on the top of my head. But yeah, I read Happily Ever After, or Ever After. I'll have to over here, give it 5 stars, would highly recommend. Another middle grade series that I finished and also really enjoyed. Sorry, my dog really, really wants my hat. Can you stop with the hat? Please, and thank you. Was the Gifted Clan series, part of Cassie. My goodness, she wants this hat. Sorry, she's gonna have to take the hat for a second. Was the Gifted Clan series by Gracie Kim, and I love this series. This was a duology. I read the Last Fallen Realm, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was definitely more of like an emotional read. It had an unexpected ending that I didn't really see coming, but I really, really liked it. I'm really excited to see anything else that Gracie Kim writes, but this book is definitely a standout in the Rick Riordan Presents imprint. And here is a photo of the book that I read, 5 stars. Sorry, my dog is not cooperating. I took it off. No more hat. So the next series that I finished was the Small Spaces series by Catherine Arden. I read Empty Smiles. I listened to it. Honestly, this series became a bit of a disappointment. I enjoyed book 1 and book 2, but book 3 and book 4 really were a little bit of disappointments for me, and I didn't love them as much. I don't know if I would recommend the whole series. I think the book series started off really, really strong. I like the idea of the seasons, but book 3 and 4 just got a little bit weaker, and I didn't feel that connected to the characters either, so I struggled a little bit. I only gave a 3 stars, like a low 3. Probably more like a 2.5, but it was an arc, so, but yeah, so that is where we are with that. I only gave it 3 stars, but here's the picture of the book that I read. Companion series that I finished was the Jane Austen mystery series, and I read Manslaughter Park, which is an undertaking of Mansfield Park. And again, I think it was my least favorite in this series. Maybe it's because I don't have a really, really deep connection to Mansfield Park. I don't think I've ever really read it. I definitely liked book 1 and book 2 in this series a lot more, and I think the next thing this author is going to write is going to be like a companion series where we follow Lizzie and Darcy from book 1, and I like that book like a lot more. It just worked for me, so I only gave this book 3 stars, but I'm happy that I finished the companion series for sure. Here's a photo. I also think I'm going to cut myself off on The Footman's Club by Valerie Bowman. I wound up reading Save the Horse, Ride the Viscount, which was the prequel series in this companion series, and it was like the romance I really, really wanted to read because it was like a second, it was a prequel to like the Clayton and his wife that we met in the first 3 books in the series, and I liked it. I don't think it was a new favorite, but I don't have any interest in reading any more in this series because we got all the main couples. So yeah, but I do like this series. It's kind of fun. It follows these 4 characters. They wind up going to this house party and they pretend to be servants to get ladies, and it's just a fun read. I really liked. I think I would probably say the first book was probably my favorite, but I did really like Save the Horse, Ride the Viscount. But if you're looking for kind of like an underrated Regency romance series, I would check it out. And here's the book that I read. I gave it 3.5 stars. The next series that I finished was the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. I actually read 2 books this year, which is shocking. I read The Ballad of Never After and A Curse for True Love, and I like them both. I gave them both 5 stars. They're definitely going to make my top reads of the year because it was a solid series ending. I think I even like this series, prefer this series to the Caraval series, and I also thoroughly liked that book, so I was really, really impressed. And I gave both books 5 stars. Definitely going to be a new favorite series of the year. Probably my favorite, just like looking at it, on series that I finished. Middle grade wise, definitely it's going to be middle grade contemporary is probably going to be Van Beekers. Middle grade fantasy is definitely going to be The Gifted Clans. Young adult fantasy that I finished, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and Regency romance series is probably the Fifth Avenue Rebels. But yeah, definitely those 2 books I really, really loved. And the last series I'm going to chat about is Chain of Gold. What is it called? I don't even know if it has a name. The Last Hour series by Cassie Clare, and I gave the final book, Chain of Thorns, 5 stars. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm a Cassie Clare stan. I like all her stories. They're really, really captivating. And yeah, I'm going to have a stats video coming, but those are the series that I finished. And then looking at the series that I'm still in the middle of, nothing really shakes me out. But I have a lot of duologies that I need to finish, so that's going to be a goal in 2024. Let me know in the comments what were some series that you read this year and finished that you're really, really proud of yourself for. I would love to know. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for another video for BookMas. Bye!